Amara had always believed love would come like a lightning strike, sudden, blinding, and impossible to ignore. But her past had taught her a cruel truth. Lightning doesn't always mean warmth, sometimes it just burns. She had been with men who knew how to charm a room but never protect a heart. She had heard "I love you" from lips that lied as easily as they smiled. Her friends told her to keep believing, but in the quiet of her nights, she began to wonder if her heart had been chasing a fantasy all along. Then, Chike arrived. They met in the least romantic way imaginable. Her car broke down on a lonely road one rainy evening, and he was the stranger who pulled over to help. She remembered the sound of rain against the hood, the cold wind, and the way his voice was calm when he said, "Don't worry, I've got you." At first, she thought it was just kindness from a stranger. But over the next few weeks, their paths crossed again, at the local coffee shop, at the grocery store, at a friend's gathering. Each time, he remembered small details she'd told him before. The books she liked, the way she preferred her coffee without sugar, the fact that rainy nights made her nostalgic. There was something unsettling about him, not in a dangerous way, but in the way his presence stirred feelings she didn't quite trust. She had met men who knew how to say they cared. But Chike, he showed it without trying. The first test came sooner than she expected. Her mother fell gravely ill. She didn't tell many people, just a few close friends, but somehow, Chike found out. He didn't ask, "Do you need me?" He simply showed up at the hospital with a thermos of hot soup and a blanket. "I thought you might be cold," he said softly, handing it to her. It wasn't just the gesture, it was the way he sat beside her through the long hours, not demanding conversation, not filling the silence with empty words. He was just there, steady. But Amara was cautious. She had been fooled before. Even as she grew to look forward to his calls, even as she caught herself smiling at his messages, she told herself, "Don't trust too quickly." The second test came on the day she lost her job. She had been holding back tears all afternoon when Chike called. She didn't want him to hear her voice shaking, so she lied and said she was fine. An hour later, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find him standing there, holding takeout from her favorite restaurant. "I figured you might need dinner," he said with that calm, steady smile. "How did you?" "I just knew." It wasn't grand declarations that moved her. It was the quiet consistency, the way he seemed to read the spaces between her words. Then came the night that changed everything. They were sitting in her living room, the rain tapping softly against the windows. She had her legs curled under her on the couch, and he was telling her about a dream he had as a child, to build a home by the sea one day. Halfway through his story, she realized she wasn't just listening to his words, she was memorizing them. The tone of his voice, the rhythm of his breathing, the safety in his presence. Her guard had been high for years, her heart locked behind walls she thought no one could climb. But without her noticing, Chike had slipped through, not with force, but with patience. And in that quiet moment, her soul whispered, "This is him. This is the man who will hold your heart without breaking. This is your husband, your soulmate." For the first time in years, Amara felt a peace that was louder than her fears. And that night, she didn't just fall in love, she finally landed.